the fact that he calls himself a feminist, and then you got Jody Wilson-Raybould, and you've got Selena, and then you have Jane Philpott, all coming out and saying like how crappy this guy has been to women, and especially when women speak up.
Mm-hmm.
What part of feminism is that?
Yeah.
You know, he's literally I'm a feminist, but shut up and get in the kitchen. Like that's literally Trudeau's version of feminism. And I'm like, that's not the feminism that I thought that, you know, we're supposed to be purporting here.
Yeah.
But, you know, can't have a woman with a strong opinion because that just Trudeau does not like that.
Well, like, you know, all the fights that are happening behind the scenes right now between him and Freeland over the budget and the deficit. Yeah. You know, like, you know, they're obviously trying to show a united front, but those are the talks that are happening right now where, you know, she was trying to keep the spending lower and he wants to keep increasing it. And she's like, even Freeland's like, please stop. I'm tapping out right now. And he's like, no, more. Give me more. Ruin this country, please. And she's like, I can't. And that's why likely either she's getting ousted next week or by the new year, or she's getting promoted. We'll find out. Talk about failing upward.
Yeah. Well, I really kind of agree with what Jasmine said. I know that you shared her post about Freeland kind of being almost in an abusive relationship with this government. And it has all the hallmarks of that, of actual verbal, mental abuse, psychological abuse. And, you know, we've seen so many instances of Freeland out there moving erratically and appearing unwell. And you have to wonder, like, maybe there's an underlying illness there. Maybe it's just the stress. Maybe it's the nervous response to constantly being under duress from an overbearing authoritarian leader who's gaslighting people, saying that he's a feminist when he's the worst bully of them all.
Yeah. Yeah, that was... immediately I've been in situations like this. I've worked in companies where it's high stress, and then as well as you start having leaders who start just, you know, taking credit for your work, presenting it as their own, or lying to your other superiors about the work you have or have not done. You know, and that's small potatoes compared to what, you know, running a country. But I've been in that situation. I remember the stress I was feeling constantly, not getting rest, not getting proper nutrition, not drinking enough water. Like, just my body was a wreck over these things. And I can only imagine when you're talking about this scale with the media, cameras in your face all the time, people on Twitter, people on podcasts like ours ripping you for being stupid. And then you're just like, oh, like, you know, a lot of these decisions weren't even mine. I had to make them because of this guy. And then you have this guy who's just overbearing, just lighting you up. I can imagine that is stressful. And not letting her off the hook, I will never forget how she reacted to the Freedom Convoy and everything since then. However, I can have some empathy in this case of clearly any woman, specifically women who have worked under this guy, have had a horrendous time.
Yeah.
And it looks like she's no different.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's exactly that. You can have empathy for the human being and for the situation that they find themselves in. At the same time, there has to be a certain level of accountability. And we, like I said, I mentioned it with Jane and with Jody. They both said, this is wrong. We're not going to go there. And Jody at one of her most recent conferences that we both attended, where she said, you know, I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror when I wake up, and I have to be able to talk to my friends and family. I have to be able to answer to people and to myself to say I, you know, lived into my integrity and I made sure that I kept it. And that was the thing that all of Canada saw, and we're not seeing with Freeland.
Yeah.
And I get it that, you know, it is showing all the hallmarks of abuse, but at the same time, there has to be a certain level of personal accountability. And like you said, it was that like weird satisfaction that was displayed when like the Freedom Convoy, the hammer came down on that she
froze the bank accounts.
Yeah, she froze the bank accounts, and she was like almost rejoicing. And it was just like, it was gross. And then, so that's where it's kind of like, you can have empathy, but at the same time you're like, but you're also not showing a lot of integrity. You're not like showing that you're a very good person. So it's like, yeah, it's a weird one.
It is a weird one.
It is a weird one. So two things can be true. Mm-hmm. You can hold empathy for someone and say, you're in a crappy situation. This really sucks for you. And at the same time, be better, have integrity, you know, have some courage, to keep quoting Elizabeth Smith Crossan. You're in there, have some freaking courage, So that's my thought on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it came back to even Jasmine and I's conversation a couple weeks back about Melanie Joly, and you know her op-ed with the New York Times, or not her op-ed, but a story that covered her in the New York Times, and this weird story of she's having issues getting pregnant, conceiving, going through IVF, and she's like, no, I don't want to be foreign affairs minister. And he's like, no, you need to be. And keep pushing that. And she's like, even said, admitted herself, I'm not qualified to do that job. He's like, no, we need a pregnant woman on the world stage. It would be awesome. And just like even that situation and their relationship has been really weird. And then hearing the backstory of just seeing this guy just manipulate and be overbearing and continue to just tear these women up because he wants to look a specific way on the world stage. It's just wild to me. And, I'll say this. You swap places right now. Trudeau and Trump swap places right now and say Trump was doing the things that Trudeau's done. Guy wouldn't survive.
Oh, God.
It'd be over. So
they would eat him up.
Because there'd be so much there. But the reality is, Trump brings a lot on himself too, but it's just stupid things. There's not a whole lot of stories coming out about, and I hear the left right now, don't even get me started on the whole issue with, his allegations. But the reality is there's not a whole lot out there aside from just stupid things he's done. But Trudeau is conniving. He goes for the jugular for the people that work around him, which is not a joy to be a part of, I imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine that either. And the other part of it too is that we saw what happened with Higgs when Higgs did that in New Brunswick. He got voted out and turfed in resounding fashion.
Right.
And I think that's what's going to come for Trudeau is just the same thing. Like when you have created so many enemies within your own party, the people who are supposed to lift you up and support you, like when it's your darkest hour, they're going to just turn their backs and say, listen, you got everything you deserved and more. So, and I think that day of reckoning is coming, but I just don't know when.
Yeah, it's a great question. There's talks on the street right now where it's getting loud. Mulcair admitting. Actually, let's play the Mulcair clip right now. This is what Mulcair's saying right now.
Do you know what? I have so much more respect for him.
Just because he's been speaking out more?
Just because he's been speaking out. I'm like, good for you, friggin' NDP, for actually showing some spine here. And it's funny because he will criticize Trudeau. He will criticize Jagmeet. And he's just been telling it like it is. And where was that when you were leader of the NDP? Maybe I actually would have voted for you. You know what I mean?
Maybe. But, who knows?
Yeah. He had that stupid Tom Mulcair, healthcare. They rhyme, so I should be in power. I'm like, oh,
get out of here. Get out of here. Let's play this out.
Don't care.
And it's something that I agree with that Trudeau might decide not to stick around for the next election. He was teeing it up. If you look at all those sentences together, he was pleading for women in leadership roles in politics. Now, the only party in Ottawa, there's 5 parties in the House of Commons, the only one that's never had a woman leader is the Liberals. Trudeau defeated 4 women for the leadership the last time. So is he trying to set it up so that he could plead, for example, for either Melanie Joly or Chrystia Freeland to be his eventual replacement, if indeed he does step down? And I repeat, I sincerely believe that that's what he's planning to do. I don't see him sticking around, not with everything that's happening right now.
Interesting statement. And the idea of him making way, that was the joke when he made the statement about, we need more women in politics. And that's why I'm a feminist prime minister. And I was like, how about, let's make some space. Let's make some space. How we vacate the seat and promote a woman. Do some DEI hiring out here. Let's go. We need some representation out here. And he made an interesting point. Can't remember if it was in this clip. I may have dismissed it. But Liberals are the only party that haven't had a female leader. Yeah. Isn't that nuts? Yeah. Holy jumping. Oh, I'd love to see it.
The party that claims to be so woke.
Yeah.
Is the only party that has not had a female leader. And it's funny just because I'm looking at it and what I think would be absolutely incredible, because I don't think that he's going to step down. I want to be wrong so bad. Please let me be wrong. But I was like, it would be absolutely rich if he stepped down in January before Jagmeet was eligible for his pension. Like, that'd be so great.
That would be the biggest troll move.
Yeah.
And honestly, that would be the only thing I ever respect him for. Yeah. In his time as prime minister is just to troll Jagmeet because of how awful he's been too.
Yeah. Well, that's the part that I don't get, is that you've got Jagmeet there. Literally, Trudeau is bending every single second to Jagmeet because Jagmeet's keeping him in power. And then Jagmeet will go out there and run Trudeau through the mud, worse than Polyev.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely scandalous. And then go back into the House Commons and, you know, support him some more. And I'm like, you are so two-faced.
Yeah.
Like, did you see him leaving, like, the vote for the non-confidence?
Oh, yeah.
Like, just so ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Steps out as soon as the vote of non-confidence happens and votes from, because he had a meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Sure he did.
And then comes back in afterwards to support one of his own motions from the NDP. It's just like, you're such a garbage human. Like, you're so spineless. Like, you're just Trudeau with a different haircut. But anyway, yeah. So it would be so nice. That would be a nice Christmas present for them to call an election.
Happy New Year.
Before Jagmeet could be eligible for his pension.
That'd be amazing.
It would make my freaking day.
You know, and Trudeau has a personality. He would probably do something like that. I wouldn't put it past him. Like, he is
He's a vindictive.
so vindictive.
Yeah.
And so I could imagine him doing it. And it would be funny.
Yeah. That would be a feel-good Friday.
Yeah, that would be a Feel Good Friday.